It's Jax. What up, dollars? Let's go. Martin Luther had a dream, but Freddy Krueger had a Ruger. Ex-Malcolm out the picture, so now we back to the future. Now we back to these losers embracing death like they used to. Poking out they chest, but listen, son, now you leaking that future. So who's the shooter? Is it your man? Or was it a fan? Or was it a stand? I would beg to differ. In hindsight, I bet you he say he was not a nigga. Plus Biggie Smalls was just minding his business, yo. Smoking an Optimo. Somebody got to drop the homie Biggie has got to go. And they couldn't stop it, no, I wish that they could. Yeah, the world needs change, but man, I wish that we would. So why the long frown? A man harmed from a 4 pound. His blood ripples on the floor from the war sound. His mama sitting at the wake, hoping the Lord's found. Another dead, another gone now. Damn.
Another man done gone. Another man done gone from the county from another.
George Eliot said that it's best to be what you wanna be. Fucking do what you wanna do, so I do what I wanna do. Bet you did it to floss. Bitch, I did what I wanted. Bet you did it and lost. Bitch, I did it and won it. Shit, I'm never coming back. Listen, I just wanna rap. Gee, I told you all of that. On about a dozen tracks. I don't give a fuck. I just wanna rap. Spitting fire on this track like a fucking thundercat. Plus this mic is bleeding rojo. This shit is a no-no. Rolling in that low-low. Plus I'm from that Baltimore. Need a folk smoking on my logo. Ready for the wall and we so silly with the flow. Somebody got a robo. Heard the lanes and I swear they so too much love for the fame just to go broke. You said think I had the rap game in the chokehold. Never think I got the whole world in a rope. Gotta think of damn dog, you crazy. Is he the next Jay-Z? My crystal ball is hazy, but I don't know, maybe.
Welcome back to the Insanity Check podcast. This is Chris here, your host, Weekly Insanity Check Show. We are back. We took the last week off, and of course, as we take every time we take the week off, we come back and the world blows up. So joining me is a voice you've heard on the MTR network for a while, but I think you've only been on the Insanity Check like once before. Well, no, it's been a couple times because we've done some recap shows. We have the lovely Shannon on. What's going on, ma'am?
Hey, how are you guys? How's everything going? It's nice to not be recapping a TV show.
Yeah, I mean, look, Shannon does double duty. You're actually triple duty because you do Supergirl, you do the Supergirl shows, but then you're now starting to do other reviews for us. I know you just did. Oh, what was the one you just did? I know you just did. Huh?
It was the movie Gifted with Chris Evans.
Yeah, you just read the Gifted, but you did one with Phenom too. It was a Netflix show, right? Movie?
Yeah, it was that movie Deirdre and Lainey Rob a Train.
Got you. So you got that. You've done San Diego Comic-Con for us, but then you're also over there at Project Fandom with the good folks over there with Nina and them doing work for them. Like you do a lot of stuff. You're all over the place.
I honestly don't know what I'm thinking lately, but yeah, and I started it's been a year now, but I started a new job back in August, and it's been really intense.
Yeah, so it's a lot going on, but I decided that this next time a month, we'll have some guests in between too, but I'm bringing a lot of the contributors for the show because I feel like a lot of you guys just haven't been on the Insanity Check, and I'm like, wait, you guys are always doing all this stuff. I'll bring you guys on the Insanity Check. We'll have some fun. Talk about some crazy stuff, vent about, Trump's America, fun stuff there. And go on from there. But, thank you for joining me on, I don't know, what's the weather like out there today?
It's been really annoying. We've had a lot of rain, which you can't complain about because we just came out of a drought. So you can't complain about all the rain, but all the rain is really annoying. So right now it's actually beautiful, but when I left my house this morning, I had a umbrella, the high boots with the leggings, everything, and then on my way back it just decided to be super sunny and nice out.
Oh, I was about to rub it in because we have a really nice day today here in Maryland, but then you came out and said that it's sunny and nice out now, so now I can't do that. Damn you, West Coast people, damn you, West Coast people. Uh, yeah. It was funny. We were just talking about this. We were mentioning you're doing San Diego Comic Con and stuff, so we were talking about waiting to hear back about you and Phenom are for re-verification this year, which is I always hate that wait. Like it's just the wait for re-verifying for a small site is just annoying because you feel like every 2 years you have to go back and re-justify why you're there, and then you'll see you know this because you're there with us. You see some of these other people that are there, and you're like, what are you guys here for? You're here to be fans. You're not even here to actually do work. You have a press badge, and you're here just to be a fan, and you're literally doing no press work whatsoever. What the hell?
Or you have you have like the celebrities, the talent, giving the same 3 interviews to the same 4 outlets.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like that's the other thing that's frustrating is these bigger outlets that everyone's following. You're gonna see like the same interviews from EW, from what's the Vulture, from all of these outlets that you guys normally follow, and then some of the talent, TV Guide or whatever, they only talk to those people anyway. So that's another thing that's super frustrating is that they'll get like a video, an article, and like a cast video and a one-on-one. And then we're just trying to get, round tables or, a brief second with, a celebrity so it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Basically, we're hustlers. That's what
we have to be. Like I remember, I think we got the one of the handlers for the Luke Cage room left their sheet around, so I ended up snatching it, and I could see how, and I was looking at how they had it set up, and it just made me mad. Because like we always think about the room, but we knew this, but it's just different to actually see it written down. Because they would tell you, "Oh, well, I'm sorry, our rooms are too filled, and we have too many people, and it's just we couldn't let you in." Then you look at the round table list, and it's not more people than say some other rooms, right? Where you're like, "Wait, it's not filled in here. This is not filled." Then you see that. Let's take EW. EW will have a person at the round table. They'll have a person on the one-on-one. Then off-site, they done a one-on-one interview at the hotel where the cast is staying at already. Then it's like, so you've gotten 3 shots, 3 chances to interview these people, but the smaller outlets can't even get a round table. Are you serious right now? Like,
and that's also why when people see these things where these celebrities are doing these press junkets and they're like, why are they, why are they so annoyed or why are they so tired? Because the same person has been asking them the same 5 questions all day.
Yeah. Yeah. Same person, same question all the time, every day. And you're just like, wow, what are we doing here? But you couldn't let somebody else in to do this, and you couldn't. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I'm waiting to see. I know that today was the open registration for non-press people, and it went as you would expect it to go, which is an organized, I couldn't even say organized mess, just a mess. So, congratulations to everybody who got tickets. Like I said, I'm definitely going because I know I didn't have to re-verify this year. Like I said, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that Shanna and Phenom get, like I said, when we set our stuff out there, we have enough stuff. So I'm we should. But that'll lead me to my second thing. Even though things should happen, they don't. By now, some of you guys have heard our Awesome Con panel this year is not happening, unfortunately. So that's the bad news. We submitted it, and they said that they did not have enough room for us. And yes, I think that's full of shit because we packed the room the last 2 times, and when you have a panel at Awesome Con, not all those panels pack the room. So the fact that even though we've packed the room 2 times in a row, and we applied this year, and we are not coming back because they didn't have room for us, I'm not as salty as other people are. I am not. But it does sting. It hurts because, again, as a smaller outlet, you're trying really hard, and when you do succeed, and you constantly feel like you have to justify yourself, and even then, it's still not enough sometimes. And so it kind of bothers me. the good news out of all this is, make sure I find the date. I think Awesome Con this year is June 16th to the 18th in Washington, D.C. Same place. We are still going to do something. The reason why I am not as upset at not getting this panel, even though it is bullshit. Like, everybody's been telling me, that's bullshit. You should have. And I'm like, hey, you guys are all right. It is bullshit. I know it's bullshit. I'm not going to raise hell. The reason why I'm not going to raise hell is we're going to still try. I'm looking for a venue now. We're going to try. We're not calling it this, but we're basically trying to bring the band back together and do a live Four Loko podcast. We're not calling it a Four Loko podcast because we are not drinking Four Loko. But I know Karen and Rod are down. I know Phenom is down. We'll probably get some more people. I know you'll be in town. So we'll get some more people that you know from the MTR networks and from all those other podcasts. We're going to try to find an area and try to get at least an hour, maybe 2 hour podcast, live show together for that. I'm trying to find a venue and lock down a venue hopefully this week. And once I do that, you guys will get more news. And I think we just do it ourselves. Like I said, while I love having the access of doing a live event, doing a panel at Awesome Con, because we do get some new people. What I've also realized is a lot of you all just want to hang out with us. And some of you guys really just you weren't going to pay the $40 to go to the Awesome Con to do that. You waited until we went to Penn Social afterwards to meet up with us then. So we had even more people at Penn Social afterwards than we did at the actual panel. So we're going to try to do that. So we're looking at that Saturday. I don't have anything locked down yet, but just, stay tuned. I'm going to let Rod, we got to talk to the other, Rod and Karen and Phenom and everybody else to make sure that we're on everybody's okay with what we do. But hopefully we'll lock something down by this week and you guys will get more information about us doing that. But we definitely want to do that and just cut the middleman out and just do it ourselves. So
I think you should get a venue super close to the convention center just to mess with them.
So the idea right now and what I'm doing, because we almost did this last year, we're still trying. We might still, like, I'm leaning towards Penn Social still, and that was really, really close last. I think we all walked there from the convention center last year. So the idea is to still do it there or somewhere really, really close. There's a lot of different venues in that area. So that's the idea. The idea is to still do it somewhere really close to Awesome Con. So if you do decide to go to Awesome Con, you can just come right afterwards and come down and enjoy us. And that's why we're also still doing it the same weekend. So we're also looking at doing some other, bringing the panel to some other conventions too. So we're still working on that. And if things go well with that, we'll announce those as well. But we're all gonna be in the town anyway. Like, nobody's not coming. I'm always in town for this anyway. So I live here. But we know everybody, like Rod and Karen, are still coming up. I know Deepom's flying up. So, like, people are gonna be around. So even if we don't end up doing a live show, we're still gonna do that happy hour meetup, and we'll all get drinks and have fun, and we'll figure something out. So something's definitely happening. So just stay tuned, and hopefully we'll do that. And I think it'll be fun. Like I said, I think this is the next. While I enjoyed doing those panels, there were a lot of limitations on them in the fact that they were less than an hour, to tell you the truth. We had to do some setup. They were always less than an hour. People could only go if they had an Awesome Con badge. And honestly, if we got none of that money, to be really honest. If you only came to Awesome Con to see us, we saw 100% of $0 of that. So this way, if we do end up charging for this, the money will go to supporting the podcast you came to see and support, and the podcast you come out and love. So just stay tuned, and we'll see what happens with that, and we'll be going forward with it. So all right, let's move on to some other stuff. Since we started with that, let me finish the rest of the housekeeping things we got going on. As you guys know, premium up and running. That's the best way to support the show if you want to. $8 a month. MTR Premium, and we got, I just want to thank everyone who's a new contributor to the site with a new show coming out, because I barely did a premium show that I had to host last month. I think I did 3, which is great. I think I did 2 comic book clubs, and then there was Hell No Cupid. So yeah, it's been great. So I think this month already we're at five episodes are up for premium, and I have 2 docu-drunks, and I think there's still the Star Wars show. I know they're still working on that, and I want to say something else is coming out soon. Well, P Funk and Koki are just cranking out molecules and shit episodes, and I mean, I know that's a great show. So, and like I said, next month, I think May, I'll be bringing back some of the previews. So if you're not sure if you want to be a premium member, you'll be able to check out some of the preview episodes to see and preview some episodes to see if it's worth it. And yes, it is worth it. I know the doctor, we just put up another Doctor Who retrospective on the 10th Doctor. So yeah, a lot of stuff coming out, guys. Sign up for MTR Premium, support us there. It's kind of weird. All of our shows are on break right now for Super Tuesday, except for Agent of Shield.
It happened kind of at the perfect time. Although I was complaining about it, it happened at the perfect time. I've just been chilling.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
This past week.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It sucks, but then also it doesn't suck because God, I need that fucking break. like Agent of Shield came back and it's like, wait, all I gotta watch is Agent of Shield. Oh, and Legends, and then and Legends is done now. I'm like, oh wow, that's not too bad. That's pretty good. I know this weekend, tomorrow. If you're listening to this, it's probably going to be Sunday already. Deepalm and I are going to put out a Super Tuesday recap review of Iron Fist, so that'll be coming out soon. Also, we're gonna have Latoya's gonna finally have her Black Woman Shout Out show. We were calling it Secret Sauce, but she might change the name yet, so I don't know what name she decided on yet. But by the time it comes out, you guys will know. And this is basically the show where she's going to be interviewing and talking, discussing different things with Black women, particularly Black women who have submitted to our Black Women Shout Out and reaching out to them and having them on. I know she's had 2 interviews, and she's talking to Brooke, a book author, as our first guest. And she's doing that tomorrow. So hopefully that show will be out on the main feed. That's not going to be a premium show. That's going to be a main feed show. And that'll be out, coming out this week. On the show, as long as everything goes well. So stay tuned for that. Like I said, we got a lot of stuff going on here. So a lot of stuff. And I think that's it. Get the sponsors out of the way, and then we'll get right into this episode. This show is being sponsored by Susan Berry, the Pool Law Firm, which is located in Silver Spring, Maryland. Susan Berry and Troy Poole are excellent attorneys in the Maryland, D.C. area. They're from the D.C. and Maryland area. So if you're in the DMV, please check them out. The Poole Law Firm handles criminal law, family law, and personal injury. So if you need an attorney, you want to know more, please head over to their wonderful website. The website is www.thepoollawfirm.com. That's pool with an E-P-O-L-E. Lawfirm.com. The number 301-585-3014. And we do not want to accept that phone call coming in right now. So all right, so let's move on.
Wait, do you think Susan Berry will be there at Austin Con?
Yeah. She's always going to be there.
Yeah.
Do you want to meet Susan? Oh, that's going to be great. Yes. Yeah, Susan I know I'm going to get a text message of this once she hears this, but Susan will never pass up the opportunity to yell at Deepalm and I in person. That's just never going to happen. So, yes, Susan will be there. You don't have to worry about that. Wait, an opportunity to yell at me and Deepalm and tell us how much we suck, and also love up on Rod and Karen? Absolutely, she'll be there.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That's how I felt when I first met Ashley.
Yep.
I feel like I'm meeting a celebrity.
Yes. Oh, and Ashley. Oh, and this year, because of last year, he couldn't do it. So Ashley and Phenom should be there as well. So so it should be fun. Everybody come out. Like I said, once we get the details down on it, we'll put it out there. And like I said, if everything goes well and this is a success, we'll start doing this more often. Because I think it'll be fun, and I think fans want to hear us get together. And I know, look, man, when you get all of us together, it's just it's a party. It is. It just is. We have fun. Everybody else has fun. And it'll be great. So you want to hear that. So, All right, let's move on and get into some stuff because, like I said, the world almost blows up anytime we don't have an insanity check. And I keep saying this because we are having DPOM 1 and 2 more episodes on the 22nd. And so I'm hoping it doesn't get worse than this. And so that's why we're kind of, announcing it now that DPOM will be on the show. But I feel like he makes everything worse. So it's going to be fun. So, but we're going to start with some fun stuff, all right? And I think this is going to be the most important story we do today. God willing, one day Fast and Furious could hit the space. Could hit the space.
I would not be opposed to that because I don't know where you go after moving a submarine or moving a rocket with your hand.
Fast and Furious in space is a joke fans have been making for years. With each sequel, the franchise gets exponentially crazier. So at some point, space would be the only option left, right? Very funny. We've all heard it. Even franchise writer Chris Morgan, who has heard it, and he's not totally opposed to it. Look, no plans for it right now, so hopefully people will be good with that. But never say never. If we came up with the perfect thing and it made sense, it would be awesome. Yes.
He's not wrong. It would be awesome.
Yes, please. Like, come on. You've jumped cars between buildings in Dubai. You've dropped cars out. You've Halo dropped cars out of cargo jets in the atmosphere already anyway. So why the fuck not? Like The Rock and Vin Diesel on space buggies, make it happen. Make it happen. Like this is one of the franchises where I think that they can avoid the jumping the shark moment, which is in space. Because that was the whole thing, right? Anytime you take a franchise to space, that's when you knew you were officially out of ideas, and it was terrible.
They can literally do whatever they want with this franchise. I do not care. I'm here for it all. Every single one of them.
I see Fate of the Furious on Tuesday. Oh, I can't fucking wait. It is the highlight of my April. I'm so excited. I
have a training now so originally I bought my ticket for Friday. I have a training now on Friday. So it's like 2 days, Friday and Saturday back to back. So I had to move my ticket, which you can do on Fandango, by the way. If you're a Fandango VIP member like I am. So I had to move my ticket. Fancy. But because I had to move my ticket, I ended up with a better ticket. I ended up with the IMAX ticket, and I only had to pay $2 more. I am so hyped. Sunday morning, I am going to see Fate of the Furious in IMAX. I'm so excited.
So here's the thing that makes me like, this is an underappreciated franchise. And I know people are gonna go, why does everybody love this this franchise? And like when you look at it and you think about it, this is a franchise that kind of bucks a lot of the. Let me see. That kind of bucks some of the trends we've seen in Hollywood. This is a cast that's mostly not, the good guys are mostly not white men. You know. They've had more directors that are not white men. I forgot John Singleton did the second movie. You know, F. Gary Gray is directing this one. They've had, again, we have a big deal with all the whitewashing things going on with Asian movies. They've had a lot of Asian. They've had Justin Lin and James Wan direct movies on these, and these are not like these are not small films. These are blockbuster movies that get, top billing and IMAX treatment. They get heavy promotion. Like, these are things that you don't normally see when you have people of color in majority in good roles or as directors in these films. I'll even go as far as saying, yes, you look at them and you're like, oh man, they objectify women and things like that. When you think about it, they've also allowed women just to kick ass in this film too.
Mm-hmm.
More than any other, film we've seen. They just let women come out there and be badasses and have fights and kick ass, and like it's a surprisingly progressive film. And I'm not trying to sit there and go that the most progressive thing in the world, and I'm not going to write one of those think pieces that just kind of ruin the idea of it. But when you look at what you've seen from other franchises in Hollywood, this is one of those things that you don't have. I mean, you have different kinds of black men on the show. You have like Ludacris' character you would think would be, Ludacris is one of those characters in this film that he's my favorite because he's so not a stereotype.
He's so understated. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like people think he's the Tyrese character that's like very
Right.
flashy and loud and there just to make jokes. But really the only reason Tyrese's character is there is because he drives fast. Ludacris actually serves a purpose.
Right. Well, another thing too is Ludacris is actually a pretty good actor. Like I remember his Law and Order episodes that he did. Those are like, go back if you have never seen him on Law and Order, go watch those Law and Order episodes. He's good. Like I was watching going, this motherfucker's acting his ass off. Like I was not expecting this. Like underrated rappers who became actors. Ludacris. Sorry. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorites. Yo, like, yeah. So I love his interactions with Tyrese in this. It's the only time I'll tolerate Tyrese. Is when he's interacting with these characters. Like it's a great franchise when you think about it and what they've done with it. And when you think about the way it started, like I remember going to the theater to see the first Fast and Furious. It was like, oh, okay, they did one film, all right, no problem. Then they did 2 Fast 2 Furious, and you're like, oh, I don't know about this. And then they did Tokyo Drift, and you're like, wait a minute, guys, it's getting out of hand. But then, and that was the one Justin Lin did, and then they just brought it back, and they just brought everything together, and it's been a fun ride.
It was all off the strength of Vin Diesel's cameo in Tokyo Drift.
Right. Right.
The strength of his cameo and how that tested with audience is what brought this franchise back. That's crazy.
Right. And I'll allow it. Like there was talk about bringing the Han character back, the one we saw die in Tokyo Drift, and I was like, all right. we did we really see a body? I mean, we saw him die in the car, but did we really see a body? Fuck it, bring him back. Like if he shows up at the end of this, if he shows up in the after credit scenes for Fate of the Furious, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Low key, Han is my favorite character.
Yo, he was great.
After Paul Walker, who we will never see again, and I'm so sad about it, Han is my favorite character. So it's like do you watch This Is Us?
No, it's too. No, I hear it's a great show, but the way people talk about This Is Us is not a way that you get me to watch that show. It's like, I've been just crying for 8 hours after watching the show. I'm like, oh, I'm never watching that show then. Sounds great, but you're not going to get me that way. No, sir. No, not going to happen. But anyway.
On that show, the father has passed away, and Rod and Bossy review that show every week. And Rod is like, he's just one of those characters that they could just totally jump the shark and be like, it's a sci-fi show now, and Jack is actually alive, and he's a secret agent, and he had to fake his own death. And I just buy it because I love that character so much. That's how I feel about Han.
Hey,
I will buy whatever excuse they have to make up for Han being alive.
Do it. Like, they're compare, like, these are 2 ridiculous stories that came out about this franchise this week, right? That Han could come back and, hey, well, going to space is not the worst idea we've heard. Those are 2 ridiculous ideas that if any other franchise said this stuff, we'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? But we're just like, oh, yeah. I mean, do what you got to do, whatever. Compare that to Michael Bay saying, well, I have 14 Transformers films in my head. And we're going, dude, you must be stopped. Stop it.
He needs to stop.
You need to stop. Like, there's a pattern with Michael Bay where every time there's a movie, he's about to do a movie, it's simultaneously, I only got one more film in me, and also but I have 14 more in my head. He's been saying the next Transformers film is going to be my last Transformers film for 3 Transformers films now. Guys, we're getting 14 more Transformers films. If he has 14 more Transformers films in his head, until he dies, we're getting those fucking films. So, And I'm telling you right now, if
And Hollywood's gonna let him keep making them because if there is nothing that Hollywood loves more, it's letting a mediocre white man continue to make movies.
and you know what? Let's not just give Hollywood the credit for that. It's also audience in general love giving a mediocre white man more money because listen, that last Transformer film made $1 billion. So if you guys didn't go to see these films, then they wouldn't be made. But if this next film makes $1 billion, they're gonna make another film. He's gonna like this is one of those guys. Michael Bay has one of those, and I think he's a great cinematographer. But like he has one of those egos that he makes $1 billion in a film. He's not stopping. You're not stopping this man if he makes $1 billion in another film. So yeah, and I'm telling you right now, if something happens to Michael Bay between now and those 14 films happen, and he like somehow meets unnatural deaths, I'm turning Deepalm in. I'm just letting you guys know. I'm making that anonymous phone call. I know who did it. I know he's great on the network. He's gonna hate me, but I'm just saying, man, we cannot support that kind of violence against filmmakers here. So I'll know where that came from. So I'm just saying, we all know. Throwing it out there. So yeah.
But if you frame Zack Snyder for Michael Bay's death,
hey, well, let's not lay that'd be smart. Like, can you think of? I'm telling you, we're at the point right now where all we need now is a Zack Snyder film with Michael Bay also co-directing or being like a cinematographer. Like that film would be such a beautiful fucking mess. I would pay to go see that film just because it would be an. Oh my god! So, speaking of Zack Snyder, and I know he has nothing to do with these films, but allegedly. But I saw this coming out that apparently the rumor is there might be 4 Batman films that WB is planning for 2019.
no, it's not going to happen. They just need to stop. They just need to stop talking.
Well, so I've seen some people say that that doesn't seem realistic, but that does to me. That is the DC WB method. When in doubt, go to Batman. like go to Batman. That is their thing. And when you think about it, they've announced 4 different Batman films already. You have the Batman, you have Batgirl, you have Gotham City Sirens, and you have Nightwing. So they have announced 4 Batman related films. And if they aim for all of those coming out in 2019, like it's not going to happen. First of all, they're not going to get all 4 of those films in production by 2019 and filmed and ready by 2019. So that's not going to happen. First of all, but they're aiming for that. And when in doubt, go to Batman. That is the DC method. Yeah, I would
rather watch the Aunt May solo film before I watch any of these things.
We have another convert.
Except for Gotham City Sirens. That is definitely going to happen, and I think it'll be good.
I'm hoping so. Like, I think, isn't David Ayer doing that? So if
yeah, and with Margot Robbie producing it. So I think she has enough integrity and enough clout that she can push back on the crazy over at Warner.
I'm hoping so. I mean, because that's what they need. Like, I still would like to see what David's original Suicide Squad cut was looking like. Because I think there's a good film there. I would like to see what his original take was that we never really got. So, yeah.
Did they do a director's cut version of that?
I think they did, but I don't think it's his. I'm not sure, but I don't think it's his cut though. Because like, yeah, it's very weird with the. Hold on. Yeah, it's weird. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I kind of want to like. Here's the thing. The 4 Batman films that they have announced, Batman-related films with the Batman, Nightwing, Gotham City Sirens, and Batgirl, had we not had, like, if we just completely just cut off and forget everything that WB's done right now, they all sound like great films. They have great directors attached to them so far. Like, I think that, like I said, I was talking about this on the Nerd Off yesterday, that, hey, listen, I totally understand that, hey, you know, they should have gone for a woman for doing Batgirl and directing and writing Batgirl. I get that. But if you're going to go with a guy, you get Joss Whedon. okay,
Can't be mad.
I can't be too mad. Like, you know, he like I get people's complaints about him, but like, listen, when you have a long streak of losses, and then you tell me that you're gonna get Joss Whedon to do a Batgirl movie, you have my attention now. So, like, and I think Matt Reeves doing the Batman with Ben Affleck, like, on face value, they all sound like they can be really, really good, and they have a chance. Will we get to that far? Because I'm still kind of pissed that we don't know anything about the Flash right now, and that they're not even looking to replace the black director they got for the Flash with another black director.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really pissed about that, and I'm pissed that nobody else is talking about that. Like, if Marvel had done that, that would have been a really big.
It would have been the end of the world, because, like, God forbid Marvel do anything that isn't perfect.
Like, I remember when they didn't replace when Patty Jenkins was originally going to do Thor 2, and they didn't replace her with a woman, and that was a big fucking deal. Well, they did not replace the Flash director with another black director, or even go after another black director, and nobody cares. You know, this is what it's weird. I'm not getting into my whole thing about. I've talked enough about this whole thing with diversity and things like that here, but I just would like to point out to people that if you're going to talk about the diversity at Marvel and completely ignore the fact that other studios are not even trying, or comic book publishers aren't even trying, we have a problem. And that's like, people talk about, well, you know, Marvel's blaming it on diversity, but look at DC, DC's not doing diverse books, guys.
The only one that I personally know of is, or the only, I think it's like two. They're young stuff, which I read. They're Gotham Academy stuff, because the main character in that is brown skin, and there's other brown skin folks in that, and Asian. Like, there's a lot of representation in that. And then other than that, I know Aquagirl right now is Latina,
and Cyborg. I think David Walker doing Cyborg. Yeah, Cyborg. Yeah.
But does Cyborg have a solo book right now?
Yeah, I think he still has one. Yeah, he still should have one. And David Walker's writing that. And then Green Lanterns, because that's that's a Latina woman, and the other guy who's a Muslim. So I can't remember their names, but those books. It's literally a handful. Literally a handful. They're not trying, and like, when you look at the sales charts, you also see that the stuff that is selling for them is the same things that always sell, which is Batman and Justice League, or anything that has Batman.
Just like the same thing that's selling for Marvel is the same thing that always sells X-Men. Yeah.
So, so I just wanted to throw it out there. Like I said, if you want to hear my full take on that, we did the Nonstop Culture Show with Jeff, and Joy joined us for that, and also check out the Nerd Off we just did yesterday, and I talk a lot about that, because I break down. I think people get lost in the shuffle when talking about this diversity stuff, and we kind of lose focus on the fact that, hey guys, the books aren't selling, and all the books aren't selling, but yet it's particularly the people of color books, and that cuts across all kinds of. There's a lot of blame to go around for everybody on that one. Also consumers, like, you can't wait.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say this again. Don't wait for trades on those books. Can't do that, guys. No, I can't wait for the trade on that. Because by the time the trade comes out, the book might be canceled. So, yeah.
Or sometimes what I do is,
or pre-order.
I order them. I get them as they come in the single issues, but then I just hold on to them to read them all together.
Right. So, different ways of doing it, but you got to support. And again, hey, if you don't like a book, then that's fine. That's one thing. Mosaic is terrible. I'm going to always say that. I'm always going to say.
Really
I'm always going to.
Like, there was an Iggy Azalea character, and that was my first hint that this was not going anywhere that I cared about.
Just the book is just. It was one of those things that, and I've seen people try to hold that up as one of the books, and I'm like, don't put that anywhere near some of these. Don't put that near Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Don't you fucking dare. It's not the same. It's one of those books where I know it's an all-black team that's writing it, but it just doesn't feel authentic. And I don't mind.
It sounds like a white guy thinking what he sounds black people sound like.
Yeah, and it is just not authentic. And like, Like, because I want people to understand that it's not just about, oh, well, like, I've seen people go, well, yeah, because it's a basketball player who gets super, that's just, I'm like, well, no, it's not my problem with it, because I'm fine with telling those kind of stories. Like, I understand people's complaints with Riri and her, well, they went with the stereotypical, her father and her friend were shot and killed in Chicago. That's the tire story. I'm like, it's not really a tire story because we've never really heard that story in comics. Like, you first of all, you've never had young black girls in Marvel comic books anyway, so that's already first different. And that is some people's lives. Like, that is, like, I understand for me, that's not, I didn't grow up that way, but there are a lot of kids that do grow up with that being a reality. So them seeing a character, a young girl who's smart, who beats all odds and becomes a superhero, that's a good story. And there are other characters out there for us that don't have that background that we can all get to. So I don't think it's necessarily stereotypical that they make that a background for this character, because that's a background for a lot of us. I think that we can't be ashamed of the fact that, hey, there are kids in Chicago and Baltimore and other places in the inner cities that live this life. But the benefit of that is that they're not stereotypical, that these kids live with that stuff. They live with, growing up in single family homes. They live with, the violence, and they excel. That's the story of being black in America. Like, that's just what it is. And that's good to see that. So, but if it's written terribly and doesn't feel authentic, then yeah, we need to have a conversation. And that goes back to Mosaic. It just does not feel authentic. Like, I tried to read that first issue, and it just, like, between that, the Latino characters that in the first book, like, it was just too much. Like I said, it was one of the things that made me feel icky, because I was like, oh my God, yeah, this is exactly what we were talking about. You get these white creators writing these books, and then somebody goes, well, that's a black team. I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? Oh my God, no. And I think that made it actually worse for me, because I'm like, wait a minute, like, this just, it's like if Carlton Banks wrote about the inner cities, and you're just like, Carlton, what the fuck do you know about? Dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, dude, don't do that. Don't talk like that. So, moving on. Also in movie news, did you hear about the thing with Ridley Scott?
Yeah.
Gorilla.
Or John Ridley.
I'm sorry, Ridley Scott. Yeah, John Ridley,
yeah.
And Gorilla. He has this movie coming out. I think it's about the Black Liberation movement in the UK during the 70s, and it's called Gorilla. And they had a screening, I guess, of the first episode last night. And it did not go right.
He was not prepared, which it's funny because the article I read about it is the Shadow and Axe article, and the way they framed it, they were like, this was already an issue that had been brought up. So the fact that he wasn't prepared to deal with people questioning about it directly is on him. I just, like, y'all gotta know, y'all gotta be prepared. You gotta know what people are saying out there on Twitter. You gotta know what they're, this has already been brought up. So when they announced this, which was like maybe a year and a half ago, or whenever 12 Years a Slave kind of calmed down, they were like, John Ridley's next project is a series about Black Britain during the 70s. And Idris Elba is attached. So people were already hyped. People were following the casting of it. They were like, oh, they're casting Frida Pinto as the lead. People kind of side-eyed it. People were like, what's going on with that? Then I guess in this first episode, Frida's the lead. It's about this couple, Frida and this Black actor, who become radicalized and join the civil rights movement, which was largely through the Black Panthers movement.
Mm-hmm.
So they're, like, they're fighters. It's not just like, we're marching. It's like, we're fighting. We're doing actual acts against.
Well, I mean, the show's called Gorilla, so it's like, yeah. And when I say gorilla, it's spelled like guerrilla fighter, like it's like guerrilla warfare, like it's spelled like that. So it's like, you would expect this should be a militant, like, type deal here.
Yeah. So it's really about, and if you know anything about the history of that movement and kind of that Black Panther uh, movement, Black Power movement that came over to Britain, it was largely organized by Black women. So these people, these women in the audience asked
I actually have it. I'll read it.
legitimately.
Yeah, one of the
Yeah.
it wasn't just women. It was just journalists. So let me see if I can get this one here. So journalists asked, my parents were part of that movement, Black Power, the Black Power movement. I want to understand why you decided to make an Asian woman the main protagonist. I understand the contribution of Asians to this, but having an Asian protagonist making all the big decisions, does that get explained in subsequent episodes? We can't ignore that. So here goes Ridley. To me, everything you're saying is exactly why the decision is so important. The fact that it's difficult to accept someone, even though they are a color of being with us, journalists, I don't find that difficult to accept. I'm trying to understand, Ridley. If everybody understood racism oppression, there would be no reason to doing the show. We'd be doing Dancing with the Stars. If there are things that are difficult to understand, accept, rationalize, despite the fact that you understand the struggles of that time period, those elements are not made up. Those are real. If there are any aspects of my show that are difficult to understand or accept, I feel I've done my job. It is an incredibly valid question, but please accept that my answer is equally as valid, which your answer isn't equally as valid because your answer is not an answer. So the journalist goes, I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure you quite you answered the question. Why? And she just says blankly, why are there no Black women at the forefront of the struggle? That does not necessarily accurately reflect what happened in the 70s in the UK. So one of the male leads, Babu Sessa, said, wow, really? You know that because you read about it? Journalist, no, we know this because our parents were part of it. The erasure of Black women. So Ridley then goes into this long thing. He said, I said previously, I think the characters in this story are complicated across the board. So the concept that any one person is somehow better or more elevated or more appropriate than any other individual, I'm sorry, I don't accept that. I'm just going to throw in right quick. That's bullshit. Because if you have a lead, it's obviously being told through her eyes and she's not Black. Mm-hmm. So it's like,
that's automatically elevating her point of view as more important.
Like, and it's kind of insulting because not only is she not a Black woman, she's not even Black. Like, you couldn't even, this is, I'm used to the kind of erasure where a Black man will put a Black person in here and a Black male character in here and erase the contribution of a Black woman. That's the kind of stuff we've seen, erasure we've seen of Black women from Black men in the movement all over the time. Like, I'm used to that. This is going to be even beyond that, where the character's not even Black. You have a show about the Black liberation movement, and the main character is not. Come on, John.
Well, here's the thing too. So he goes on to talk about how his girlfriend or his partner is a woman of is not Black, and he's in an interracial relationship, and he just wanted to highlight, these other communities that were in solidarity with the Black Power movement.
Nigga, then put her as a side character.
Consider maybe having the main character be a Black woman and having her partner be non-Black?
Whoa. What are you talking about here? No, of course not. Of course not.
Also, another good way to answer that question, I really wanted to highlight this thing in particular. That's why we cast Frida. But here are the other Black women that you see in subsequent episodes, which was literally what the journalist was asking.
Right. This is episode 1.
Is that addressed in subsequent episodes? All you had to say was yes, it is. Well, I'm assuming now that it's not.
Right, I want to say
you wouldn't just give that answer.
I'm about to say, yeah. The fact that he answered it this way means no, it is not, and they are not any more Black. And apparently, the only Black woman in the show is a Black woman who is infiltrating and snitching on the movement and working with a racist white cop. Like, it's like, are you kidding me right now? That is the only Black woman in the first episode. You didn't you are that dense. Like, and I like John Ridley. Like, I like your work. Like, are you that dense, dude? Come on, man. Come on. So then here, Neil Kinlock, a photographer. I'm probably the only person here that was in the Black Panthers, and what John Ridley did was exactly spot on. We had an Asian woman, and she was extremely active. There's absolutely nothing wrong with what I've seen here today. Go fuck yourself. Oh my God. Like, this is.
I hate when people do that. My personal experience is this, so therefore everything that you know is invalidated.
If a white if Ava DuVernay, and she would never do. Because I always hate these scenarios. 'Cause I saw this other day. It was talking about French Montana calling that black woman a nappy-headed hoe or something like that, and some black dude goes, "Well, if Beyonce had said that to you guys," I'm like, but Beyonce would never say that. So you already
Beyonce would never say.
Yeah, she would never do it. So you're already on the wrong. So I'm a preface this of saying that Ava would never do this, but I'm gonna suspend reality for a minute and say, what if Ava did this and she did a Black Panther movie and decided to center that Black Panther movie on a white dude? Black dudes would lose their goddamn minds. Black women would too, but black dudes would then also lose their fucking mind and be so fucking upset if she did. Hey, there were white people out there who helped the movement, prominent in the movement. There were, but if she centered a white dude, black dudes would lose their goddamn minds. Here you have a black man centering an Asian woman in the Black Liberation Movement in the UK. Nigga, is you crazy? That's all I got. Nigga, what were you thinking? Like,
I mean, also, it's valid to say we were able to get Frida Pinto, and I just really wanted to work with her. That's also another thing that's valid to say.
Right.
I mean, it's not perfect, but it's just like either completely stand in your truth,
Right.
or not. But like you're making all these excuses, and well, I wanted to do this, and the actor going, well, were you there? Nigga, you weren't there either.
Right.
Were you there? Because clearly, had you been there, you would have seen something different.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, so rude and dismissive.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. I had another article that was sent to me, but it doesn't. I don't have the actual article. Maybe they took it down. It said Frida Pinto reduced to tears after being confronted by Black Lives Matter activists. It's bullshit.
Yeah. So then we got hit with. Oh yeah, and first of all, categorizing these
journalists,
Black women journalists, as Black Lives Matter activists for asking about the erasure of Black women.
Right.
So there's that. And then now not only are Black women constantly assaulted by white women tears, now we got to deal with Indian women tears, which apparently are just as deadly.
Yeah. And it's and it's ridiculous because again, this happens all the time because remember when Oscar So White came out and even Asians were like, "Oh, what about?" I was like, Oscar So White doesn't mean just black people, guys, who are actually also working. We got some work with us as well. But then they didn't want that. Remember, they were like, "Oh, well, I don't see the problem. It's bigger than this." And then Iron Fist and Doctor and all these other Asian whitewashing things happened. And they're like, "I can't believe this is happening." Well, motherfucker, we were actually trying to help you guys with this shit, but you guys kind of
We never said Oscars have to be black. We said Oscars so white.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, it was so the Independent with the UK might have taken it down, but I can find it on the Sun on the UK. The militants from the Black Lives Matter UK slammed the Indian actress's inclusion in Sky Atlantic's Gorilla during a panel session with the cast after a screening. First of all, the militants from Black, they were journalists. First of all, second of all, here's the thing. The movie is about militants, so let's say they were militants from the Black Lives Matter movement. I think they have every right to be there. Like it's a movie about militants. So again, they weren't militant. They were just doing their fucking jobs. But if they were militants, well, the movie is about militants, so I think they had every right. I think that's actually a legit place to be there. Oh my god, like the way the
thing is, they clearly wanted like an informed audience and an audience that would be connected to the material. And then didn't know how to deal with the fact that audience had questions. And
here's the Sun article on this. I gotta save this so I can, because it might be the same as the Independent, but the Sun's is just it's such a fuck you trolling thing on this one right now. It is just it's actually almost beautiful. Let me read this next line and you're gonna see it. The Slumdog Millionaire star 32 plays an Asian nurse who is married to a black civil rights leader in 1970s London. In the show, the pair decided to take a violent action as part of the struggle, but Frida wept when they accused the show of black erasure for using an Asian lady as the lead to a panel that included its executive producer Idris Elba and Oscar-winning director John Ridley, who wrote the script for 12 Years a Slave. Basically, she has two black friends.
Hmm. She has two black friends, guys. Everybody go home. Can't ask her any questions. Two black friends. Two of them.
A witness said Frida was left stunned and didn't know what to do when a barrage of questions came in about why they cast an Asian lady as a lead character. I mean, well, that. She sat in the front of the stage and tears rolled down her cheek as John tried to get them to understand that being called black in the 70s referred to all people of color from the former British colonies. John then spent around 40 minutes trying to speak to them after the event, but they were really rude and rolling their eyes and answering back saying he didn't understand it. It was ridiculous following his background.
It's really frustrating too because there are black Indians.
Right.
That is a thing. I'm not saying that Frida shouldn't have been cast. I think she's a great actress. I'm sure for the story, I'm sure she's did a good job with the story. That is also a thing that they could have thought about, maybe casting a black Indian actress, because Frida Pinto is kind of stereotypically what you think of when you think of an Indian actress. She's lighter skinned, straight hair, like, so that's another thing they could have did. So I don't like it because it's gonna like start all of these like what is considered black in the UK, and it's gonna start that argument when the real issue is how the main character didn't necessarily have to be a black woman, but did you consider it? Did you think about it? Did you think about, you clearly didn't think about what the response was going to be if she wasn't. And you clearly didn't think about, well, who are the other black actresses in this piece that we can talk about if that question comes up?
Well, I think that that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. They come in with this whole stuff about, well, you know, there are black people, that there are Asian women that were there, and there were white people that were there, and I don't understand. Like, yes, but the question is, and the question that's never answered is, why did you think to go when you could have gone to a black woman or even a black man, centering them on him? You could have gone to black people. You decided you needed to tell the story with somebody who is not black. Like, why did you think that was the story to tell? When, again, it would be something different is if we've had all of these movies and TV shows about the Black Liberation Movement in the UK that centered around black women, that centered around black men, and did all this stuff, and we've just reached a point where we can't tell any more of those stories, then yes, you can tell this story, and that's fine. But to me, it's just like it's so ridiculous that people act like that this is the story that had to be told. It's like, no, like you haven't exhausted all those other stories yet. So why did you sit in there? And I think John Ridley kind of exposed himself. He got it. He's like, well, I'm not married to a black woman. Like that's his real, that was the real answer. You know, I'm not married to a black woman, and I wanted her to feel like she was included. Mm-hmm. That is the legit reason. And quite frankly, well, that's your reason, and that's your truth, and that's fine. You need to stick to that. You're gonna get roasted for that. I mean, you're going to get roasted for that, and you need to know you're going to get roasted for that, and you got to accept that because you had the power to tell that the story. This also goes to my whole thing. Whenever we hear, remember when this dude in the White House now got quote unquote elected. A lot of people were telling, well, I'm going to move, and this is why I'm leaving the United States. Where are you going to go where anti-blackness isn't real? Mm-hmm. Because again, this is just a reminder that nowhere black people will go in this world is really going to be accepting of you being black.
This is why I also had an issue with the whole thing that happened with Get Out. Because as much as we want to act like our experience here as Black Americans is so unique.
And what you're saying is
you're talking not.
You're talking about like Sam Jackson coming out and saying,
yeah, Sam Jackson coming after Daniel Kaluuya talking about, well, they've had integration over there for way more years than we have, and interracial dating. So I don't understand, if he can really connect with the material the way the way a Black American could, and all this. And basically, it was just Sam being salty about Black British
Right.
people getting more jobs.
Right. But hey, listen. I can go with you on that one, Sam, just because Black British people are taking a lot of your jobs. But I would also say that you as Black people just need to step their game up because
Well,
these
I wouldn't
these
say
Black
that
dudes-
either,
these
because
Black dudes
that's
are
the
just-
thing is I have a lot of friends who are actors, and I know that they grind just as hard, they work just as hard, but there is something to be said about the fact that in America we kind of fetishize accents and British people and all of that stuff. So that's why it's happening across the board. It's
Right.
not just happening with Black American actors or Black British actors. It's happening with British actors in
I mean,
general.
shit, look at The Walking
Australian
Dead.
actors.
Look at The Walking Dead. You find out all your actors on that show are not American.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Like, it still surprises me that people are surprised when when folks do interviews and they're like, "Well, pip pip cheerio," and everybody's like, "Oh my god, I didn't know," and I'm like, at this point, you have a better chance of them being British and being surprised when they're American.
right. Wait,
So-
hey, what happened to your accent? What do you mean what accent? I'm American. You sure? You sure about this? Or are you just you another one of them? Like that's the real British takeover right now. They're just
Exactly. So it's just it's really frustrating because and another thing that frustrates me about this is I was really excited for this series because I wanted people to see this. I wanted people to understand that our struggle is not unique. They were dealing with the same thing over in the UK. They've been dealing with it in France. They've been dealing like all of these places. So I wanted people to know our struggle, our Black Power movement, our civil rights movement is not as unique and like no one could understand what we've been through. If you're Black anywhere in the world, pretty much you can understand what we've been through.
right. It's there. You just got it's annoying. So anyway, speaking of annoying, and I know I'm doing this earlier than I normally do on the show, but I think it fits really well with this doing it right now. Great moments in white privilege, guys. It fits really well on this because we're talking about like why you just don't go to Black women or Black people. Yeah, what the fuck was Pepsi thinking? I caught the aftermath. Like I caught when Black Twitter was already going in on them, so I had to kind of go back to find out. And I finally eventually had to ask. I was like, okay, what did Pepsi do to end racism that people are like going in on them for? And that's when I saw the Kendall Jenner ad. And holy shit. like what the fuck? Who approved this ad? Like
At least 10 people.
at least so I found the day that apparently what they did was because people were like, who are the extras in the thing, you know, in the video? Because some people were like, look at these. Apparently, they went to Thailand to shoot this ad, and they got extras from Thailand and people who just didn't really know the impact of what they were doing here, and just kind of, all right, cool. This is why nobody else speaks in the film. Nobody really speaks in the thing. So it's like they went to Thailand to shoot this, and so it's like to me, because people were at one point going, hey, maybe they didn't know, they weren't trying to do it this way. When you go to Thailand to shoot something like this, that tells me you did know and you wanted to get extras. You weren't going to ask any questions. For those who don't know, who for somehow did not see this Pepsi ad, in the ad you have Kendall Jenner, one of the I guess I don't know which Kardashian related person she is. I just know she's in that clan. She's in the middle of doing some glamorous
Like, I don't know where she falls in that clan. I just know she exists.
I just know she's in that world and things like that. And look, I'm not even anti-Kardashian like some people are. Like I'm not as much anymore, just because I feel like there's a lot of misogyny and bullshit that goes into that. But at the same time, I also recognize that they are also manipulative and they're mostly a business and they know what the fuck they're doing. And we'll get into that later. But yeah, so I just know her last name is Jenner. She falls into that group, and okay, whatever. She's doing this glamorous photo shoot, and she sees these people that are like protesting outside, and it looks like one of those. People are saying it looks like a Black Lives Matter movement. I'm not gonna lie, it does look like one of those women's march marches, and I'll explain that later. So it wasn't too black. Very they were trying to make it more multicultural, but again, it's centering a white woman. She sees them, and she in the most tone deaf part of the ad, as she walks out to go join them, she takes off her wig and she hands it to a black woman who might be the only black woman I see in the ad. By the way,
that was actually more than any part of the video. It was that upset me.
Yeah. So she literally walks by, and she doesn't even look at this woman and like, hey, can you hold my wig? She's ripping her wig off, and she just hands it to this black woman, without even looking at it. And even though black woman in the ad kind of looks at like, this is not gonna go well. Like this is not the imagery you want to send. She wipes off her lipstick and she goes and joins the protesters, and they're cops, and of course these cops are not the cops that we see when as black people. They are not decked out in riot gear with with tear gas. They're literally like in short sleeve shirts and like they look like mall cops. Not gonna lie. And Kendall takes a Pepsi and walks over to one of the cops and hands him a Pepsi. And then the crowd cheers.
And he smiles.
Holy shit. Go find the ad. Go watch it. If somehow you have not seen this ad, I will find a link to the ad. I will put... It is the most tone-deaf shit I've ever seen from a brand. And I've seen some tone-deaf shit from brands. What the fuck? So the great moment of white privilege for this, though, comes from the defense of Kendall Jenner, though. So we see apparently Kendall Jenner is traumatized by the backlash of her Pepsi ad. Kendall was grateful for the change, sources told Hollywood Life. She is really traumatized over the Pepsi backlash. She has such high hopes for it, the source continued, and now she's terrified she'll never work again or become a laughingstock. First of all, you are a Kardashian. You are already a laughingstock. It is built into your brand. As a matter of fact, it is part of your brand to be a laughingstock. Shut the fuck up. You're never gonna work again. You are in the Kardashian clan. Of course you're gonna work again. All right. Kim had a sex tape. That was not the end of her career. It was the beginning of her career. Stop it. All right? Get the fuck out of here with that. Kendall has always been on the shy side, and having such controversial attention hit her hard. The world sees her as this glamorous, sophisticated, jet-setting woman. Do we? I'm not in on this. I don't know who this woman is. Okay. But she's only 21, and she's very sensitive, the insider told us. This has been a very painful and embarrassing to her. To her, not to the black people who basically the ad is mocking our struggle and what we've dealt with over the last century of dealing with cops and protests and things like that. Pepsi also. Oh, let me see if I can find.
She's gonna be all right.
Let me see.
She's crying all the way to the bank, crying right into her $1 million.
Yeah. So another great moment of white privilege for this that ties into this. So when Pepsi did their statement, let me see if I can find the full statement here. So they pulled the ad, and Pepsi said, Pepsi was trying to project a global of unity, peace, and understanding. Clearly, we missed a mark, and we apologize. We did not intend to make light of any serious situation, although, okay, any person would have told you that you did. We were pulling the content and holding any further rollout. That should have been the end of it, but they stopped. They did not stop there. We also apologize for putting Kendall Jenner in this position.
Yeah. She's been through a lot, guys.
You apologize for... I've seen people say... we shouldn't go in on Kendall Jenner because she's only 21 and she's just a child. And there are plenty of other people that were involved in making this that take the blame for this. Yeah, here he is. Kendall Jenner is like 20. She's 21. She's a child. I blame every single adult involved in that ad and the people who made that creative decision. She is 21, and I feel like that's not the same as like, no, you're old enough. Like, apparently, you know,
it's like you can't have it both ways. Whenever something happens with Kendall and Kylie that people don't approve of, then they're just young and whatever. But then when they're defending something, like for instance, her sister dating when she was like 16 and he's a grown man with a child, then all of a sudden it's like Kendall and Kylie are so sophisticated. They've been jet setting all over the world since they were young. You can't hold them to the same standard as other like teenagers. It's like, well, what is it? Either they're sophisticated enough to know these things or they're children that need to be protected. What is it?
well, you know what it is? They're not black. Because if they were black, they would be grown ass adults, right? Because when Tamir Rice was shot by police, it was like he was old. He was the male suspect was old enough and should have known better than to pull the gun out. He didn't pull the gun out and was shot dead. He was 12 years old. Michael Brown was a grown ass man, black. You know, black. He was Hawking. He was, all these people are younger than Kendall Jenner. You remember Ryan Lochte? You know, when he, he was what, 32-year-old. Matter of fact, he was the oldest motherfucker out of the group of American swimmers, and just a child. Like, it's funny. I'm beginning to think that the age for white people when they're no longer children is like 40, which explains a lot because our president is 70. And so that would put him down really around the mentality of a 30-year-old, which explains everything about what he's doing right now. So you might have to, you know, you have to take off 40 years for white people before they become grown ass adults. So explains a lot there. It is just the tone deaf nature of this. Like, you know, I've seen one of the photographers. Well, no, the idea was to do it like they did with the Vietnam ads and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, but that's not the same thing here. The thing what we've seen with cops is, particularly when it's a multicultural gathering, and when I say multicultural, more black and brown people than white people. What we've seen is cops will line up in riot gear. So already your ad is bullshit. We've seen that. All right, cops line up in riot gear. This is why I said this ad reminded me more of the Women's March because of the way the cops were thing. Because remember, this is like the scene from the Women's March in D.C. when the cop took a photo with the white women and they had the little pussy hat with the little pink hats and on. I'm like, that doesn't happen when black people are protesting. Cops show up with armored vehicles, pepper spray, and they're decked out for war. All right, so already the visuals on that are bullshit because you're trying to project this image of unity and global peace, but that's not what's happening. All right, that's not what's happening. It shouldn't be. And if anybody's going to reach out to anybody, handing anybody a Pepsi, maybe it should have been the cops handing out Pepsi to the protesters. Not saying to make the ad any better, but at least then you show that it's not up to the protesters to be the one to reach out to the fascists, you know, cops who are beating protesters and pepper spraying protesters and showing an overusing force. All right, like, I'm tired of seeing people belittle that point, that the cops are meeting peaceful protesters with excessive uses of force. That's just a fact. We know people personally who have been tear gassed. We know people personally who have been attacked by cops. You know, and these are not violent people. These are people that are just, you know, regular people like you or me, you know, who have been brutalized by cops. No amount of Pepsi is going to save that, guys.
But, you know, shout out to Twitter for always being on deck with the memes. They were ready.
That was great. Like, nobody makes a lemonade out of lemons like Black Twitter does, and that's what I was having a great time just looking at the looking at the different the memes that were coming out of it. And it was perfect because this is what we do. I did start thinking of some things myself. What if we start a new trend? I'm calling it the new Pepsi challenge, where we just replace really tough moments with Pepsi and see if they make things better. And I'm thinking that it might make things better. Take BVS for instance. What if instead of when Batman is about to kill Superman with that kryptonite spear, and Lois comes in and she goes, his mother's name is Martha. Instead of saying Martha, what if he goes, but I have a Pepsi? I'm just saying.
I mean, at this point, that movie can't get any worse.
I'm just saying. She has a Pepsi. In Man of Steel, everybody has a problem. I don't have a problem with the scene. I know some people had a problem with the scene with Paul Kent running back to the car to save the dog. What if he was running back to save a 6-pack of Pepsi? I'm just saying. It makes more sense now. What if instead of terraforming the Earth, Zod was going to drink all the Pepsi, then rebuild New Krypton out of recycled Pepsi cans? I'm telling you, Pepsi makes everything better. It even works in real life events. It's November 22nd, 1963. Lee Harvey Oswald is staring down the sights of his rifle, looking at a waving JFK, when all of a sudden he looks over his shoulder, and there's Kendall Jenner with a can of Pepsi. Think of how the world can change.
I want you to Photoshop all these things.
It's January 27th, 1945. The Soviets are liberating Auschwitz. As they approach, expecting to find the worst, expecting to find corpses and the foul smell of death, they instead hear laughter and music. Apparently, the detainees at the Nazi death camp had found a hidden cache of Pepsi. Instead of being worked and gassed to death, the Nazis were just playing games with them. And it was all fun. Just saying, Pepsi throughout history. We can do this. Everything becomes better with Pepsi. That's the other thing, too, that bothers me about this. Like, nobody would ever do those last two things because they would piss off other two groups. Like, whoa, wait a minute, wait. Like, you would never see, like, Kendall Jenner coming out there and handing a Pepsi to Hitler, right? Oh, well, maybe I won't gas the Jews now. I have a Pepsi. Like, you would never see some shit like that, right? But when it comes to dealing with things that involve black and brown people, though, it's, oh, well, why not? Because white people just think that the simplest things make things better. Like, you know what? The Pepsi is the new fucking safety pin. It's the new fucking safety pin. Mm-hmm. Yeah. From now on, I'm carrying a 6-pack of Pepsi in my trunk, yeah. Anytime I get pulled over by the cop, it's like, hey, officer, just hold on real quick. So slide a Pepsi across the dashboard to him. It's like, I think we're done here. Cop goes, you're correct, sir. Have a nice day. Pepsi. The power of Pepsi. Power of Pepsi. Yeah, just great. Like, this is the dumbest shit ever, yo. Like, if your whole thing of promoting world peace is to do something stupid like this, stop. Just stop. It's not helping. You're not helping at all. You're not helping at all. What are we doing? I don't get it. I don't fucking get it. All right, moving on. Speaking of this week in stupid, I saw this coming up. If you guys haven't noticed now, I'm saving my Trump stuff because, yeah. Let's see. After backlash, school stopped stamping lunch money on kids with low funds. After a child was sent home with lunch money stamped on his arm last week, and a photo of it went viral, an Arizona school has ended the practice of stamping reminders on kids when lunch money accounts run low. A second grader at Desert...
This was standard practice?
You say what now?
Like they stopped, because by saying we've stopped the policy of doing something, that means that was standard practice? That was what they did?
Adult approved this. A second grader at Desert Cove Elementary School in Phoenix came home embarrassed and crying after the incident last Thursday BuzzFeed initially reported. His mother, Tara Chavez, said she was surprised about the stamp, as she usually gets a paper slip in his folder when his account runs low. He did receive lunch and even still had 75 cents left on his account, she told the website. A spokesman for Paradise Valley Unified School District told today in an email that the lunch money stamp had previously been used at the school, but was discontinued long ago. Unfortunately, the new administrator was unaware the practice had been discontinued and decided to give students a choice between the letter or a reminder stamp, the spokesperson said. You still had the stamp around, though. Like, if you're going to tell me that the practice was stopped a long time ago, why was there still a lunch money stamp around? My mom's a teacher. You guys don't.
I don't understand why you have to stamp.
Like at no point the adults who were at no point the administrator who approved it, the person who stamped. I'm thinking that maybe there was two people that did this, right? The administrator said that we're gonna do it, and then the person that actually did it. At no point did you think that stamping lunch money on a student was a bad idea.
Well, I just don't understand. What is the purpose? Is there no other way to get this message across to both the parent and to other adults? Is there no way? I've worked in schools.
Well, no, that's the crazy thing.
No one can just walk up to the lunch people and be like, he owes lunch money?
Well, that's the crazy thing. They were giving students a choice between the letter or stamping their skin. These are the people that run the schools.
That still doesn't make sense. You don't.
It makes no sense. It makes no fucking sense at all. And you didn't think that having a kid walking around the school, because kids are cruel, walking around the school with lunch money, basically tattooed on his arm, was a bad idea. Okay, all right. You wanted it to be a reminder.
Just send a letter home.
Yeah, you want to be a
email, a text.
You want to be a reminder that the stamps get rubbed off and washed off anyway. That just nothing about it makes any fucking sense at all. So stupid. Speaking of stupid, woman falls off California's tallest bridge trying to take a selfie as her rescue shines a light on mindless new Instagram craze where hundreds of people are crawling out over a sheer drop. This is the Forest Hill Bridge.
I know this bridge.
Yeah, the Forest Hill Bridge near Sacramento.
I know this bridge, and I can't believe people are doing this.
A woman has miraculously survived after plunging 60 feet off of California's tallest bridge, as it revealed the youngsters are risking their lives there. Okay, white youngsters are risking their lives every day to take a perfect Instagram picture. Police said the woman, who had not been identified, was walking across the catwalk underneath the 730-foot tall Forest Hill Bridge near Sacramento on Tuesday when she fell. She was airlifted to a hospital for treatment, though authorities said she was incredibly lucky not to have been killed. But despite the warnings of the grave dangers accessing the walkway under the bridge for years, it appears to be falling on deaf ears. And this post literally has a ton of pictures of these people walking out over this thing, and they're out of their goddamn minds. This woman apparently, she not only just fell off the bridge, she fell off the bridge and then landed on top of a trailer or something like that. I don't know what her status is, but yeah, this is ridiculous. I'm gonna send you this link in Skype so you can see it. Cause you gotta see these pictures. It is ridiculous. It's literally there's all these pictures.
I saw one of a dude sitting the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that. That was the one I saw, and I was just like, all of this looks ridiculous. All of this looks like white people shit.
Oh, it is. There's one here that I love. It's it's my favorite one. It's three white women, right? And they're they're underneath it. They're not they're near the edge of the cliff. They're not on the actual bridge itself. This woman apparently climbed on the bridge, under the catwalk of the bridge, and walked over there, which is fucking absurd. These three women are on the edge of the cliff that looks over, and they're topless. Their backs are to the camera. They're topless, and one of them is holding this husky. It's a giant dog. It's a big dog. She's holding him, and the dog The dog is looking over his shoulder, and you can just tell the dog is just like, bitch, if you don't get me the fuck down from here, what the fuck is wrong with you? Are you out of your goddamn mind? You see how far that fucking hill is? Like, it is absurd. Like, white people find new and amazing ways to try to kill themselves.
Why are they not wearing tops?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, no, it does. They're white. No, I'm serious. Like, seriously, anytime you find out that white people have done something crazy and you're like, this doesn't make any sense, just go, oh, but they're white. And it fits. It just solves everything right there. You're just like, oh, well, no, you're right. They're white. So, okay, that makes sense.
Like, I kind of understand this one lady who's on the catwalk part because that's the part that's you're supposed to walk on. But these people who are just like in this center, like they must have just walked out into this centerpiece.
Mm-hmm.
That makes no sense to me.
Yeah. Like on the like they're literally on like the part. Yeah, this is ridiculous. Like,
my god, this one woman is like not even in the middle part. She's like on the edge.
The one in the pink shirt. The one in the pink shirt.
Yes,
I'm thinking that. And the one next to her, where the dude is like doing like some like crazy like breakdancing thing on the like. These people are. Oh my god, the one underneath her. Oh my god, look,
yes.
The one underneath
I'm
her with the
looking
camera.
at her right now in the gray shirt.
Yes. This woman,
And the caption of the picture is "Trust God with every step." Oh, I wish you would have fell. I wish you would have fell. Lord,
she falls over. All she hears in the back of her head is like, he's like, bitch, I ain't got nothing to do with this one. Don't put this one on me. Like, you were fucking insane, yo. They're insane. Oh my god, look at the other one. Like the one further down. They're like on
the guy underneath her with his long caption.
Oh no, not that one. No, keep going down. The next one.
Sitting, just chilling.
Yo.
Just legs dangling out over the edge of
These
the
people are
bridge.
crazy. They're out of
I don't value my life at all.
These people are out of their mind. There's one caption here that says police had previously placed barbed wire around any potential entrances to the catwalk of the grassy verge above, which daredevils can climb to jump onto the girders. What's amazing about white people is you can do all that, they'll ignore it, they'll go around it, and then when they fall off and nearly kill themselves, they'll still try to sue you for it.
Mm-hmm. I know where this bridge is. It's right over the American River. So I've been on the river before. Because what you can do is you can rent a tube and you can just go tubing down the river, which is actually pretty chill. The river moves, but it moves very slow. So you like rent a big inner tube with a bunch of people and just like have beers and sandwiches and float down the river. It's a very nice experience. I clearly do it with my white friends.
And on the perfect day, you'll even see the bodies flying off the bridge for people who
and
tried
that's
to.
What I'm just thinking about. I'm like, I'm sure I have gone under this bridge before. What if one of these idiots have fallen on me?
God, these people are stupid. God,
ridiculous.
New and dumb ways to almost kill yourself. Thank you, white people. Like I said, I live vicariously through white people sometimes when it comes to things like this because it's things I never would do myself. But I'm glad. Like this is like those videos you see sometimes on Facebook. Have you seen them? Where like they're like the trust videos where like they climb up this tall building and like the woman will hang on like or even sometimes a dude they'll hang on by one arm and somebody will be holding them as they hang off the side of a building or something like that. No, you guys are out of your mind.
Are they the ones in charge? I still don't understand this.
How
did they become the ones in charge?
I don't know. I don't know how they haven't just all killed themselves by accident by now. I'm sorry. Look, I like some of you white people, but you got to do some of the dumbest things. Like I don't understand how you guys have not, as a species, wiped yourselves out. Like seriously, like we talked about before, but like with the dodo and stuff like that, like dumb species that they're just like, oh, they were just too dumb to live. It's like. White people, sometimes you do things that I just don't understand how you guys have survived this long because holy shit, if it did not have even if it has a warning label on you telling you not to do it, you guys do it anyway. You guys need
just to see what'll happen.
Yeah, well, fuck it, it's just what happened, it was great. It was a great time, So, one more in this is fucking stupid. Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel. No high school diploma without a plan for graduation. I would say this. I like Obama. I love Obama. I think he's done a lot of great things. One of the worst things that we got from Obama, though, is going to be Rahm Emanuel, because this dude is fucking horrible. And I know more people from Chicago can probably go into more details about how terrible this guy is, but this one came across my one of my mornings was looking through things, and I saw this, and I was just it was such a ridiculous thing. I think Leslie posted it, and I know Leslie doesn't post like fake news, but I still had to go double check it like 3 fucking times to make sure it wasn't an Onion article, because it made no sense to me. Chicago high school students may need to soon create a plan for their future in order to graduate. Mayor Rahm Emanuel appeared on CBS this morning on Wednesday to discuss his new proposal, which will require students to develop a post-high school plan before receiving a diploma. Chicago will be the first city to adopt such a requirement if the measure is approved by the city board of education. We live in a period of time when you earn what you learn. The school system of K through 12 is not applicable in the world and the economy in the world that our high school students are graduating to. We're moving to a pre-K to college model. Under the proposal, all Chicago public school students starting this year's freshman class would have to show an acceptance letter to a 4-year university, a community college, a trade school, or an apprenticeship, an internship, or a branch of the armed services in order to receive their high school diploma. Around 62% of our students have already either accepted into college or accepted into community college, and our goal is to make sure nobody spikes the ball at 12th grade. We want to make 14th grade universal. That's the new goal line.
So when they say that, do they mean everybody has to have a plan for college?
Well, it's not just a plan. You got to have, like I said, have the acceptance letter for a 4-year university, a community college, or trade school, or apprenticeship, an internship, or a branch of the armed services. So it's not even just a plan. You have to be accepted in one of these things, which is apps like this is one of those things that
in order to get your diploma that you've earned, so you've done all the work, but you still have to do this in order to. And I have a future.
And by the way, all those other things are out of your hand. What if you don't have money to go? Like, what if you don't have money to go to any of these things? What if you didn't get accepted into the college you want to go to?
Well, do they mean that you have to have an acceptance and you have to have agreed to go? Because that's a different thing. I can apply for a bunch of colleges and get in and then choose not to go.
You're right. Maybe they can
my acceptance letter.
Maybe there's a way around it, but it's still stupid you have to do that because, like you said, I've earned my high school degree. I've earned my high school diploma. I don't have to.
I'm just already thinking of the loopholes. I'm like, how can they get around this? This is a stupid rule.
I'm hoping it doesn't even come.
How can they get around this?
I'm hoping it doesn't even come to loopholes. I'm hoping it never passes and it never gets approved, because this is another way of keeping black and brown kids, particularly in the inner cities, from achieving anything, because you've now put another burden on them. And also, if you think about it, it's going to force a lot of them into the armed services, because that is the easiest route for them to go. You know, it'll be the easiest route for them to go into armed services. So you're forcing kids now, instead of going from the school to prison pipeline, it's now going to school to armed forces pipeline. Like, you're now forcing kids who you can take advantage of, because that's what you're doing here. Because best believe that in a rich suburb somewhere, where a kid decides, like, a mediocre white kid like Donald Trump decides he doesn't want to go to college because he's going to live off of daddy's money. Guess what? One, they don't even need their diploma, because who the fuck's going to ask for a high school diploma? Or two, the rule's not going to apply to them. So it's just like, it's a really stupid idea. Really, really fucking stupid. And Rahm Emanuel really got to go. Like, this dude is just a complete piece of shit.
Like, the solution to people not graduating enough is not to put more barriers on them to graduate.
Now, if you're saying to this that, hey, these people are going to be not only just, if you apply to a college, you're automatically going to be able to get in and go. But even then, again, you got to think about it. Like, there are so many barriers to going to college beyond just being able to pay that tuition. How are you going to live? How are you going to eat? There are going to be a lot of people that going to a 4-year college, I had the privilege of being able to go to a 4-year college and not have to work. Right? I went to college, went and lived at my college, went for 4 years, didn't have to work, didn't have to worry where my next meal was coming from. I had to do that. That's a privilege. A lot of people can't do that. You know? Like they have like, so what is this? Like what are you doing? You're not doing anything to solve that problem for anybody. You're actually in a way creating more problems for them and more burdens for them. It's a stupid idea. Really, really fucking stupid. And I hope it doesn't pass.
I can understand. I feel like that was something that we did with our students in terms of when we would talk about during counseling or whatever, during the last school year, the beginning would be all about applying and all of that kind of stuff and what do you want to do. And then towards the end, usually they had to do some sort of senior project and then their presentation at the end. And they usually talked about like what their plan for the future post high school graduation is. And so it was just kind of built into what you were just doing naturally as teachers. It wasn't like, well, if you didn't finish your senior project, you couldn't graduate. But It wasn't if you didn't finish your senior project and part of your senior project is proving that you have all these like acceptances and these things lined up for your future, you can't graduate. Like that's just
it's stupid.
It's too much.
It's just call it what it is. It's stupid. It's stupid. So.
I understand the impetus of wanting students to think about what their life beyond high school will be, but having all of that stuff in place. And this is what it goes back to the whole thing about age. Yes, 2021 is really not that old in terms of how people process things and what, for the most part. But at the same time, we expect like 15, 16, 17-year-olds to have all of this stuff in line and be ready to just leave the house. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's yeah.
You can't drink, but have your whole life planned out.
Right. Oh, hey, sign up for the military and commit to being sent over to wars and learn to kill people. But it's
But we don't trust you to have a beer.
Yeah, no. You don't have a beer though. At least not legally, right? At least not legally. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's fucking stupid. So. Speaking of stupid, let's talk about white people's president. I still refuse to call this man my fucking president because he's not my fucking president. He's So I've been seeing a lot of stuff. You know, everybody knows this week. You've seen. Look, we're not going to war with Syria, guys. So let's words mean things. We're not going to war with Syria. This is it's kind of worse than that in a way. Basically, so Donald Trump had the military after getting backlash before his original answer on Assad and Assad using chemical weapons on civilians in Syria, Trump all of a sudden had a change of heart and pretty much changed the entire position of his administration and decided he's going to strike out against Syria and launch airstrikes. I'm going to say this right now, and I know this wasn't a popular thing to say at the time. I actually don't have a problem with launching airstrikes against Assad's forces when they do things like chemical attacks on kids. I think this is one of the problems that we have one of the problems we've had it's been a long time, but I'll just go back to George W. Bush. One of the problems we've always had is that we make foreign policy with the U.S. We make it black and white, and you have the people who just bomb them and we got to do this and we got to do that and we got to war and it's fine. We got to show strength. You have those people and the other people go, we can't. We just need to take all our forces, go home, and not do anything. And there's never any nuance and any discussion of things that happen in the middle. And nothing says that more than things like Syria, where people go from nobody has a good answer on this. And let me see if I can play this clip. This is from September of last year, and this was President Obama speaking on Syria, and it's a 5-minute answer, but I think it gives it kind of lays out the problems with Syria that nobody really talks about. And let me see if this is going to work. Are you playing? No, it is not. So, then it's not playing. All right, let me see if I can send this to myself. Anyway, one of the problems that we have is the American people don't want, for the most part, do not want to go to war. There's always those racist idiots who see, hey, dropping bombs on black and brown people, why the fuck not? Let's do it. So you have those people, but the American people, for the most part, we had the Iraq War, and for the most part, we're pretty much done with going to war. Until you see the images coming out of Syria, and you see things like, the images were horrible. I don't know if you saw them. Did you see them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're horrible. Like, you literally have young kids who were gassed and are dying. So then people want us to do something, but nobody knows what something is. Now I'm perfectly okay if you're saying, hey, something will be, let's destroy those chemical weapons. Let's destroy Assad's ability to fly these aircraft, because apparently the even though Russia is saying that it wasn't the Syrian Air Force, apparently the U.S. military tracked the plane on radar and watched it launch and watched it drop the bombs and and launch the chemical attack. They watched it happen, so we know what happened. So you get into this gray area where, hey, yeah, you don't want the United States involved. You don't want the United States dropping bombs on people. You don't want the United States, interfering in other people's business. But at the same time, you also don't want the United States sitting back when, kids are being gassed. So it's a difficult decision. I do not think that Donald Trump is the right person to have in the office, and we'll get into that later, to deal with this. But this is President Obama talking about this.
Move from Iraq to Syria. Yeah. You've said you're confident there were no good options for the U.S. to be able to stop what's going on in Syria without getting our troops involved in a quagmire. Right. You've also recently said that you are haunted constantly by what's going on there, the nearly 500,000 killed, right. The biggest refugee crisis since World War II. When you see images from Syria, do you ever doubt yourself? Do you ever second-guess the decisions you've made?
I think any good president has to go back and re-examine the decisions that he or she made so that you can learn something from them. And there hasn't been probably a week that's gone by in which I haven't re-examined some of the underlying premises around how we're dealing with the situation in Syria and explored whether there are additional options that we haven't thought of. And that.
Can I just say, I miss this dude.
Yeah, so measured.
I miss having I miss having somebody who can speak. Like it's the little things like he's like, I remember when he first started and people used to talk about how he would take these little pauses when he spoke, but it's because you can see him thinking about what he's about to say before he says it, which I'm like, why is that a bad thing? And now you see we have a president who just says things just to be saying them and just doesn't know what he's talking about. So, yes, I miss this.
That's not just an exercise I go through. That's an exercise we have our entire team go through. I'll sit in the Situation Room with my Secretary of Defense, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. We'll bring in outside.
Donald Trump had the Tomahawk missiles launched while he was in the Mar-a-Lago down in Florida, surrounded by people like Jared Kushner, Steve Bannon, Stephen Miller, Reince Priebus. Not the people that President Obama is talking about right now.
Experts, I will bring in critics of my policy.
Well, I hate I hate that, but I hate it. You know what I hate worse? The Winter White House. I hate that. I hate that even. Like anytime I hear a journalist say Winter White House, I want to physically fight them. There is no such thing as a Winter White House, you fucking assholes.
Policy to find out, okay, you don't think this is the right way to go. You tell me what it is that you think would allow us to prevent the civil war that's taking place in Syria. And I will be honest with you that one of the things I think we have to be mindful of is we have, by a mile, the greatest military on earth. And we are going to always be in a position to defend the United States, defend our personnel, defend our people, our property, and our allies. But there are going to be some bad things that happen around the world, and we have to be judicious in thinking about, is this a situation in which inserting large numbers of U.S. troops will get us a better outcome, knowing the incredible sacrifices that will be involved. And in Syria, there is not a scenario in which, absent us deploying large numbers of troops, we can stop a civil war in which both sides are deeply dug in.
This is just basics. Like, anytime I hear somebody saying, but what we should do in Syria, I always dismiss them because there's no good answer on Syria. It is a civil war. There's nothing we can do to make the situation better. They all go downhill from there.
But at the same time, what is frustrating is that people are trying to frame what Trump did as number one, some sort of act of some sort of presidential act, and also some sort of act that is because he felt bad about what was happening to the Syrian children. You mean the Syrian children he wouldn't let come into the country?
Well, absolutely. Like, he's not gonna, like, Ivanka is just killing her own brand by sticking next to her dad, because she was like, oh, you made the tough decision, like not allowing Syrian refugees to come into this country. He cares that much about them. It's like, and then you come to find out that, again, that strike did nothing. 12 hours later, the Syrian Air Force was running planes off of that because they launched 60 Tomahawk missiles. None of them damaged a goddamn thing. They didn't target the chemical weapons. They didn't target the runways. Like, it didn't do anything. It literally did nothing. But he's getting praised for it because, again, he's a mediocre white dude. So, yeah, mediocre white dudes get praised for doing absolutely nothing.
There have been critics of mine that have suggested that, well, if early enough you had provided sufficient support to a moderate opposition, they might have been able to overthrow the murderous Assad regime. The problem with that is, as we've seen, that Assad regime is supported by Russia, it's supported by Iran. Because they have not threatened us directly, we would have been violating international law, as it's understood to just go in there and invade. And unless we were willing to sustain a large presence there and escalate if and when Russia or Iran got involved.
And Russia and Iran are already involved, so it would escalate.
Then we were going to be in a situation where at some point the situation would collapse, except we would have a bunch of folks on the ground and be very much overextended. In addition, keep in mind that we still had a situation in Iraq in which we had to support a fragile government. We still had a situation in Afghanistan, which, despite the incredible sacrifices that we've made, we've given them an opportunity to succeed, but they're not out of the woods yet. We have spent well over $1 trillion. There is a long tail of costs in terms of us caring for those who come home with wounds seen and unseen. And so it's in these situations where you have to make judgments about what is best for the national security interests of the United States, even though what you see is heartbreaking. And that's one of the most difficult decisions that you make as president. But historically, if you look at what happens to great nations, more often than not, they end up having problems because they are overextended, don't have a clear sense of what is their core interests and what are things that they'd like to help And the key in Syria at this point is, unless we can get the parties involved to recognize that they are just burning their country to the ground and get it on a diplomatic and political track, frankly, there's going to be a limit to what we can do. We will try to mitigate.
Like that's the best answer you can give on Syria. It just is, because
And Donald Trump could never give that answer because it's just too many words.
well, it's too many words, and he doesn't even understand what the problem is. Like, again, before he has changed of heart, he was saying that, hey, leave Assad the way he is and it's fine. And then literally a week later, Assad's gassing kids. And now all of a sudden he has to change. It's like, this is what happened. Like, there's nothing we can do. And again, it's a civil war. So the U.S. and I've seen people go, well, Obama he's bombing in Syria. They've been bombing I think ISIS camps and things like that, and doing the best they can. But it's a tightrope. It's a tightrope. You have Russia in there. Literally, what happened with the Trump strike was they contacted Russia to let them know that they were going to strike that air base. Russian forces and Syrian forces left and moved the stuff that was there because Russian forces were there. That's why Trump let the Russians know they were going to bomb before he let the State Department know they were going to bomb. All right? Think about that for a second. All right? Russia is hoping.
Why do we keep acting like he's not colluding with this country?
Right. Like, come on. Russia is hoping Assad and was claiming that there was no chemical attack, which, again, the U.S. military tracked the plane that dropped the chemical weapons. All right. So he did this bombing, and like everybody, like I said, I was seeing everybody freaking out, like, we're going to war. Like, again, you gotta stop, because again, we're not going to war. Like, the thing you're seeing right now in Syria is posturing between the Trump campaign and Russia, and that's not going to happen there. Like, that's just a distraction. The real problem that we need to be paying attention to right now is fucking North Korea and what's going on there, because that's the real fucking problem. Like, Syria is just, no, that's something, like, even this airstrike, again, this airstrike did absolutely fucking nothing. They were running strikes out of that air base 12 hours later because the airstrike literally did nothing. But you know what the airstrike did do? It made Donald Trump look presidential, if you will, to idiot journalists. That's literally it. That's the only thing it did. It helped. It'll probably end up helping Donald Trump's poll numbers. That is literally the only thing that happened here, because it accomplished 100% of zero. All right. North Korea, on the other hand, that's the real fucking problem there, because that's where Rex Tillerson is our Secretary of State, and he has no fucking idea what he's doing. He has not been doing well. The State Department is going to be underfunded with that Trump budget. They are understaffed. The people that we need to help us with North Korea are the Chinese, and Trump has done nothing but insult the Chinese. Remember, the first thing he did was I think he took a call from Taiwan, or the Taiwanese government, and China just did not like that because they do not recognize them. That's the real problem. Like, you want to, if we're talking about war and things that might happen, North Korea is a problem. I think I saw the latest thing is they're weighing options, and one of the options is the U.S.'s options is putting nukes in South Korea. If you want to talk about potential for World War III and things going horribly wrong, you need to look at North Korea. It's not Syria. Syria is just going to be a stalemate, because, like Obama said, and I think most people recognize this, outside of some pointless airstrikes, there's nothing you can do for a civil war. This is literally, and if anything, this reminds me of what happened with Afghanistan and and Russians, and what we did with the I can't say that word anymore.
Mujahideen.
Yes, I've been drinking. Sorry, but it reminds me of that, and that you can't. There's only but so much you can do to dislodge groups that are that dug in. And there aren't any really good moderate groups, because the groups that Assad is fighting are like there are some moderate groups, but we call moderates compared to Assad. There are ISIS branches. There are Al Qaeda branches. Like it is, there's no good answer there. There really isn't. But kids are dying. So what can you do? Well, you can do what President Obama was trying to do, which is open up our borders and accept Syrian refugees, and Trump closed those borders. Mm-hmm. So when people sit there and go, Trump is looking presidential because he ordered this strike as a response to Assad launching chemical weapons against the Syrian kids and stuff like that, I go bullshit because one, he didn't target the chemical weapons. He didn't stop Assad from actually being able to do this. And two, he closed the border to those Syrian refugees. So now those kids can't escape. They have nowhere to go. They can't come here. So that's bullshit. I know Hillary Clinton's idea was to have a no-fly zone and to basically take out Assad's air force so that he cannot run those strikes. But even that comes with, again, like Obama said, comes with problems because the Russians are involved. And God forbid you launch an airstrike on a Syrian air base and you hit and you kill Russians. Now you have a fucking problem. So there's a lot of things going on there. And it's just, the thing that stands out to me the most is the fact that it's not, and again, people keep pointing out that, hey, bombs, like, well, Obama dropped bombs and Hillary going to do that. It's like, yeah, but they were competent too.
Yeah, and it's not the same.
They're competent.
It's not the same when you have like a plan and you thought it out and you're strategic about it. And I'm not saying dropping bombs on anybody is good, but this whole, like, the fact of the matter is people actually said that they voted for Trump because he's going to keep us out of war and keep us safe.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember people saying there and going, like, during the election, you had people on the left going, whoa, Obama, drones and Hillary Clinton's going to do more drones. And I would point out that Bernie Sanders wanted to keep those same drones, but okay. I don't have it. I don't think I have it on me, but apparently at the rate he's going, Trump there have been 5 times more drone strikes per week or per month than Obama. He's already outpaced Obama on. He's outpacing Obama on drone strikes. But people told me that it was drones, and this is why you can't vote for neoliberals and Hillary Clinton and blah 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 blah. And Trump would be better at least on foreign policy. You guys are all idiots. I just wanted to point that out. You guys are some fucking morons because you cannot put inexperienced people in this. I always point this out because there's a lot of people who, hey, listen, I get it. Yeah, you vote for these third parties, fine. But you also realize, I think deep down in your heart, these third parties would never win because none of them actually want to govern. Because when you govern and you actually become president of the United States and you get read into the security and things like that. Like I saw one leftist group that was like, yeah, we're going to abolish the Pentagon. I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're fucking not. Listen, you don't have to like U.S. foreign policy, but it's also something that you have to live with. Because this is something that is going to take hundreds and hundreds of years to undo because it's a policy that has been formed over, the last century. You cannot just go, oh, well, fuck it. We just dismantle and move on. It's not that fucking simple. And things like Syria tell me that. What are the answers? Your answers are you go in, you have boots on the ground, you've now gotten involved in a civil war, and the Russians and Iranians are on the other side. That's a fucking problem. If you just take your ball and go home and say, fuck it, then you can't also then complain about kids being gassed. And this is where I think we as an American people, we need to start realizing that we need to get more involved in foreign policy ourselves and understanding it and getting ourselves out of those two groups. Because you can't just be in a group of, oh, well, just pull your troops out and just don't get in there. And you can't be in the, well, just put your troops in there. It needs way more nuanced answers and nuanced discussions on how to do this because there are no good answers. And the sooner we as a people understand that, I think the better we can move forward. But until we have those conversations, we can't.
It's more about getting the two sides to the table than
Right.
it is necessarily about us going in
Exactly.
and just bombing people or we just need to stop it. How do you just stop two sides that are at war. Like, like,
and one side is literally violating
you know,
the
like it's
yeah. One side is literally committing war crimes.
go ahead.
One side's literally committing war crimes.
It's not like Captain America Civil War where it's just gonna be like stopped with like, you know, Black Widow being like, Steve, no. Steve, stop. Like,
yeah. I just like it. People, we need to. I think we as we need to get out of this. Oh, it's just that simple. It's not simple. U.S. foreign policy is never going to be simple. And this is why I like when I always see people complain about Obama's foreign policy. I'm like, you guys are like, and they complain about drones. I'm like, yeah, but you know what those drones did in using drones did? Yes, it's still dropping bombs on these places, and we want to stop that. But it also meant that, as Obama said, you weren't putting boots on the ground, U.S. forces on the ground as much. And he brought up in this answer about these, you know, you have wounded soldiers coming back, not just physically, but they have PTSD, and we don't have the capacity to handle what we have from the last two wars, you know, Afghanistan and Iraq. We're not treating those veterans right now correctly. So you can't just sit there and go, oh, well, we'll just go into another one and do that. Like there's a lot more at play here. And I wish more people understood that and went with it. So, all right, a couple more things before we get out of here. We'll do our Black woman shout out, but we already did great moments of white privilege. I have this one here. There's another clip here. This is black people are just being fed up. I'm waiting on black people, black commentators and black political analysts to finally snap and start getting physically involved with the white people they're being put up against, because these white people have lost their fucking minds.
A heated exchange in the White House press room is getting attention this morning from the public and from Hillary Clinton. That exchange was between the press secretary, Sean Spicer, and veteran journalist April Ryan, a White House correspondent and Washington bureau chief for American Urban Radio Networks. Take a look.
You've got Russia, you've got wiretap, and you've got...
No, we don't have that. I know.
On Capitol Hill.
No, I get it, but you keep... I've said it from
all right, so
the day that I got here.
I'm going to stop that right there because that's not the part I'm going to get to, but we remember that happening there. Oh, shoot. I was cutting out. How am I now? Am I good?
Oh, you're fine. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm going to play this clip. It's really when the political analysts started talking about this, so I'm going to play this now.
And Jason Johnson, and let's give Sean Spicer his say. He was on the Hugh Hewitt show this morning. Here's his response to the criticism.
That's what we do. We go back and forth, and I don't treat one person different than the next. To suggest that somehow because of her gender or race should be treated differently, I think is frankly demeaning to her.
Jason, does he have a point about that?
No, I don't believe him. I think it was offensive. I think it was inappropriate. I think it was racist, and I think it was sexist. We also have to remember that this is the same Sean Spicer who was caught on camera. He was being annoyed by a local woman at a local mall and said, "You're lucky that you still get to be in this country." And he said this to a Latina woman. So it's not like this is completely bizarre to think this is the case. We also have to remember that the rhetoric and the behavior of this administration from top to bottom have demonstrated a lack of respect and a lack of consideration for people of color. I'm not surprised, and it seems par for the course for how they've operated.
I think it's sad. I think this is not going to help our country. I don't think Sean Spicer's lying. I watch this press briefing every day. By the way, there's a lot of highlights. And he allows April, who's a friend of mine, I have deep respect for April, he allows her to ask multiple questions at every...
I don't think April's a friend of yours. I'm going to say it right there. I'm tired of these racist white people saying this shit. I need to hear from the actual black people that they're your friends. I don't actually believe you when you say this.
Briefing. I thought this was too feisty, and I don't think the feistiness in the press briefings is actually that helpful, but I don't think there was any ill intent or disrespect meant. I think what you're seeing is a press secretary that's dealing with a lot of news every day all at once, And there's a lot to deal with. And I think that was a moment where he pushed back and got feisty with a reporter who he has a very good rapport with on most days.
So I want to walk a fine line because I spent years sitting in that briefing room.
Tell other people what racism is. Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Because you don't experience
it. You don't know what
this has nothing to do. You don't need to raise your voice because that's the kind of racism I'm talking about. You just raise your voice at someone who's simply disagreeing with you. You have interrupted me throughout this entire exchange, and rather than speaking respectfully and considerately, you raise your voice at me because you're uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable. You are uncomfortable at being spoken to by someone who doesn't agree with you and recognize you don't know what you're talking about. Are you going to get in my face? Because that's
I'm literally here rolling my eyes like this is ridiculous.
Like, this white dude doesn't know how much he was about to get some hands, yo. Like this is up there with that moment when Van Jones put his hand on Jeffrey Lord's shoulder, and for a quick second you were like, "Oh, Jeffrey Lord about to catch it," because it's like you could just feel that, like, dude, you don't understand how dangerous this is for you right now, because you're just no, like, I'm tired, like, this is fucking absurd, like, white people, stop, you can't tell us what is and isn't racism. That's bullshit. Here's another one. Let's get this one. Let me see. Hopefully this is. Let's see if we get the video for this one. Black people are just we're fed up. We're fed up with dealing with talking to racist white people on these shows because it's just
also punditry in and of itself is just dumb. It's like, so we're quote unquote bringing all these people with different opinions to the table, but we're going to give each of you 2 seconds to talk. We're not going to give you any time to rebut each other. So then you have situations like this where somebody is clearly like being disingenuous or dishonest, and you can't even tell them you're being an ass.
Yeah, and there's no fact checking. You know this. This is Angela versus Joe Walsh, which I can't believe CNN is bringing Joe Walsh on. If you follow Joe Walsh, I think it's Walsh Freedom on Twitter. He is the most racist fucking dude in the world, and CNN decides to bring him on. He's a former Illinois congressman, so yeah.
For a minute, Brooke, that Sean.
Wait, just stop. I'm sorry.
Sean Spicer was a condescending jerk yesterday, and I think he probably was. But what does that have to do with race? And what does that have to do with sex? Brooke, Sean Spicer has been a condescending jerk to white male reporters a whole heck of a lot. And April's a great reporter, but doesn't she want to be treated equally? Why does this always have to do with race and sex? It's ridiculous.
Angela, how do you feel about it?
I don't know if Sean Spicer is a racist. I don't know if Donald Trump is a racist. I don't know if the fallout that April experienced with Omarosa, who's a White House staffer, has challenges because of racial animus. What I do know is that April Ryan was disrespected yesterday, and it was unwarranted. What I do know is that Sean Spicer is not April Ryan's father, so he should not tell her she should and should not do. What I do know is that I'm sick and tired of this White House, as I was sick and tired of the campaign treating people less than, whether they're different because they are black, or they're different because they crossed the border, or they're different because they worship a different God, or their God is known by a different name. I am tired of difference being disrespected and mistreated by this White House.
Okay, so let me move on.
Hey, Brooke, Angela,
hang on, Joe.
Brooke, Angela.
I'm not talking to bigots,
Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
I'm not
I'll
talking to bigots.
No. Angela had me. I agreed with the first 30 seconds where she went off there. I agreed with everything she said. Sean Spicer was a condescending jerk yesterday. But then Angela had to go to race. Why did it have anything to do with race? Angela, he has treated male white reporters horribly before, too. What's the big deal?
Hold on, and why use the B word, Angela?
Because Joe is a bigot, and I'll give you an example.
Brooke Baldwin drives me fucking crazy with that. Why use the B word? Unless you're talking about bitch.
Why are we acting like you can't say bigot?
Why use it?
When did it become the B word? Like when she said, "Why did you use the B word?" I was like, "Did Angela call him a bitch at some point?" And I missed it.
Like using bigot, like and what drives me crazy with Brooke Baldwin is she gets this fake like, why call him the B? You know why? Angela's gonna explain why, but you know why. You bring him on you brought Joe Walsh on your show because you know why. Let me play this code.
Of why. Since you brought up Twitter yesterday, here's Joe's tweet. And you're way wrong on your main point, Angela. We lowered the bar for Obama. He was held to a lower standard because he was black. That is Joe Walsh's tweet. You all decided to give Joe Walsh a platform today. I'm not giving him the time of day. I'm interested in having conversations, Brooke, that will move racial people of all races forward in this country. I'm interested in having a conversation that will help us to admit the wrongs that were done in this country and how we move forward. I am not interested in trying to convince and change the mind of a bigot, someone who will openly troll me and say things that are offensive that he knows are not true.
Okay,
Here we are.
Let me just ask you, can you explain to me what you meant by your initial comments and about the so-called presidential bar? Let's just back up for a second.
Hey, Brooke, that's me.
That's for Angela. Angela was on AC 360, and she had this conversation with about lowering the bar for President Trump. Here's the clip, and then Angela, I want you to explain what you meant.
Sure.
I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but it's like a whole 10-minute thing. But like the fact that she has to explain it again, why we lower, like, yes, we're lowering the fucking bar for Donald Trump. Like anybody with any kind of fucking brain knows that. But there was a recent article that came out that apparently the way to get they figured out a way to get Donald Trump to read his press briefing. Did you see this? His intelligence briefing. The way to get Donald Trump to read his intelligence briefing was they cut out the words, they put in pictures and graphs.
Oh. I mean, I enjoy a good infographic too, so I guess that's something that me and Donald have in common.
The president of the United States. The president of the United States needs a fucking picture book in order to understand his fucking intelligence.
And
briefing.
this goes back to there is a growing conspiracy that Donald Trump cannot read.
I think it might be R. Kelly.
I don't find it that hard to believe.
Yes, I am about the. I think we need to push that illiteracy movement. Like if Donald Trump can push a birther movement for years, I think the thing we need to push under Donald Trump's administration is the fact that he's illiterate. I'm fully believe it. Cause think about it. Think about when he tries like I think he's what's it like functionally illiterate or something like that, where they can do the basic but they can't read anything beyond that. Think about this. When they put him on, most times they don't put him on a teleprompter.
Or he goes off it when they do.
Or he goes off it when he does. Think about whenever he's asked things off the cuff and he ends up repeating himself. His sentences make no fucking sense. Like you read a statement from Donald Trump and it's usually him repeating the same thing. Like the middle has like some jumble stuff in it, but the beginning and ending of his sentences are usually the fucking same. He just repeats what he said at the beginning of his thing and he says at the end. Like he is functionally illiterate. Like he is. I fully believe he can't read. I am not. I would not put it past him because he's a rich mediocre white dude, and rich mediocre white dudes can get away with a fucking lot. I mean, think about how all those stories you had of black rappers who couldn't read and how far they got on, like R. Kelly. No, like I fully believe that if he can read, I think Donald Trump probably has like a second grade reading level.
Yep, because
like,
it just makes no sense.
No. Like it's like,
and people, okay, and this is the thing too that goes back to the Hillary thing. People were upset about her emails. The whole reason that her emails were quote unquote unsecured was because if you read, there was like an article about this, and they're like, so I read all of the Hillary investigation documents, and they were like, it's basically that she got so used to using her old ass BlackBerry, they couldn't get her to change to anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like and the email, like, and her email server was like the old BlackBerry one.
Yes.
So it was literally just, you know, Hillary's an old woman. It's like your mom who can't adapt to like the latest Android or iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it was. but we will excuse Donald Trump possibly being illiterate. We will come up with excuses for that.
I am a full Donald Trump is illiterate. Until you can prove me otherwise, I don't believe he can read. Because think about it. When he was asked what does he read, he didn't say he couldn't name anything. Like I believe this is a full like people are saying this is a conspiracy theory. I think it's just the fucking truth. I don't think the motherfucker can read. I don't think he can. I think he's gotten this far with not having to do that. Because why? Think about it. He's a rich white dude. He has people to do this shit for him. Think about the way he speaks. You know? The statements he writes. They're very simple. The fact that they have to give him his intelligence briefings with pictures. Pictures. Like, are you fucking kidding me right now? The daily presidential intelligence briefings have to be done with pictures and graphs. So Donald Trump will read and understand them.
Now it makes me think about Barron. Maybe Barron isn't autistic or whatever. Maybe he just also is just coming from an illiterate family. They don't push him to do anything. Like, maybe it's just that.
Why would you have to when you're rich and white? Why would you have to? Again, mediocre white dudes. This is what happens when you get mediocre white dudes. Like, just. All right, let's wrap this up. Black Woman Shout Out time. Again, guys, remember we have the Black Woman Shout Out show coming hopefully this week. We'll know what the name of the show is, and we'll see how that goes. So just keep an eye out for that. But the first one up, we have Courtney Brown. She's a cosmetologist located in the DMV. Looking to get new clients. Her website is www.styleseat.com/hairbycourt. Also, the Instagram is hairbycourt. So check her out if you're in the DMV. We also have Latoya Allen. She's the founder of She Nomads, a space for underrepresented folks in tech and allies who want to work remotely. She likes to promote her free coding class. It's at www.shenomads.com/free-coding-classes.html. Again, the link will be in the show notes, so you can check them out. You can also find them on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And again, all those links will be in there. And she has an article that was picked up by Wired. Let me see if I had the link for this. No, I can't click on it. So check them out. And I got one more. It was in my email. I had to pull it out right now. Give me 1 second here. And again, I just want to say thank you to all the women who submit things to us, because we love supporting you. Honestly, I just love reading on some of this stuff. So we have this is from Candace. She's a co-creator of a card game called Code Switch with her husband. They recently launched on February 1st, and here's the press release for it. Let me read it. Code Switch game is this is a team of 5, including a professor and former elementary school principal, co-created a new card game that highlights a common phenomena in Black culture: code switching. Raymond and Candace Hargens teamed with Amber Lewis, Tamela Patterson, and Crystal McCorkle. Launched Code Switch on February 1st, 2016, and reached over 2,000 people on the first day. They're currently pre-selling for a spring 2017 release date. The gameplay is flexible with a us versus them. I like how they do that, us versus them. Teams option and a wild out individuals option. Each card has 3 clues with the potential to earn 3, 2, or 1 point depending on which clue a person guesses the answer. Card categories include phrases and lyrics. If you sing or rap the lyrics, you get 5 points on the first promo day. People across social media heard the video clue. I have various women as my sex partners in different states. Many indicated they had earned 5 points by guessing and singing the lyrics to Ludacris's area codes. When friends get together to play Code Switch, the goal is nostalgic, energetic performance and celebration of our linguistic prowess. It takes an underrated type of intelligence to code switch. I'm not gonna lie, this sounds awesome. This sounds like a great game to play with your friends. Next time I do a fight party, I might actually get this and play with folks while we're waiting for the fights to start. This sounds awesome.
Oh my God, the cards look hilarious. I just found an article
yes.
about it.
Yes. You can go to codeswitch.com. Oh wait, let me see if I can play the video. They have a video on their site. Give me 1 second. Gotta switch computers to get this. Wait, what? No, wait. Oh, Code Switch Game. Sorry. Make sure we do that right. Codeswitchgame.com. And here we go. Come on. Upgrading my internet speed, so I'm hooping. Oh, yes, things go much faster now. Here we go.
Kilograms of cocaine. All shades of white, kilograms of cocaine. I just illegally acquired 50 more kilograms of cocaine. Woohoo! Clue 2. LaFleur. Now what? What is this? Clue 3. I have tightly packaged, precisely measured cocaine in various shades of white. No, I really don't, but... I was recently able to establish myself in the illegal drug trade market with 50 additional kilograms of cocaine. Hey, my man. What? Say, bruh. Hello? Don't you mean... Bricks. Excuse me?
All white bricks. All white bricks. White 10 bricks. Just hit a lick. For 50 more bricks.
I'm blacking out. I can't see anything.
Code Switch. Pre-order your game today. Codeswitchgame.com.
That's hilarious.
Oh my god, I almost passed out. Oh, this is getting copped. I'm getting this. Oh, next time I'm with my people, we play the fuck out of this game. Oh, yes, codeswitchgame.com, guys. Go get this game. Go get this. Please go get this. This is amazing. I love my people. You guys are awesome. Oh my god. That is amazing. Oh, Shannon, do you have anybody you would like to shout out for your Black Woman shout out?
Actually, I am going to shout out a good friend of mine here in Oakland. She owns a art gallery. It's called Betty Ono Gallery. It's right in downtown Oakland, and they just launched a new series called My Art, My Culture. I think this is the third year of them doing this show, and it focuses on art and media. And this year they're focusing on women, particularly in art and media. So they have a couple of cool events coming up. They have a film screening of Sonia Sanchez's Bad, and a film screening of Zora Neale Hurston's Jump at the Sun. And those are coming up April 15th and April 22nd. So it's just a really cool series. It's something that celebrates women of color, particularly Black women, and her gallery in general is a place that cultivates community space, arts, and activism. So if you're in the Bay Area, if you're in the Oakland area, check out Betty Ono Gallery. It's really cool.
Awesome. Definitely check those out. And like I said, check out the other Black Woman shout outs we have there. And again, if you are a Black woman and you have an event, podcast, company, business, or anything you want to promote, just email us at bwbusiness@mtrnetwork.net. And like I said, we're really starting to roll out now. Latoya is also reaching out to people to get them to do interviews, small interviews, to also get more information and promote your business, and we'll get those things out there. And I'm thinking what I'm gonna do is once a month I'm gonna gather some of these and really promote them on all of our social media accounts, because trying to do it each week was getting too much for me, because I've been getting so many. Like, I still have 4 or 5 emails from people that have submitted things that I haven't even gotten to. Like, we are only, because I think this one was sent, Code Switch was sent to me at the beginning of March. This was sent to me March 3rd. All right, so we have so many to put out. We're only on the March 3rd submission so far, and we got some as late as April 5th, and I'm just looking at it right now, and I think we have a literary blog and stuff like that. So again, for some of these, we'll be reaching out to you soon. Also because Latoya will be doing interviews and things like that, and we'll be getting these things out there. So thank you guys very much for submitting these things, and I just like them. I like seeing what other people are doing, and it's inspirational. So, all right, that about does it. Shanna, thank you very much for joining me on this episode of the Insanity Check. Thank you very much. Tell folks where they can get you outside of just being on the MTR network and the Supergirl reviews.
Just go to projectfandom.com. Right now I'm recapping the originals, Quantico, Lucifer, and Shots Fired, which is really cool.
See, people talk about me and D-Palm and what I'm doing with the D-Palm. Like, Nina's getting away with some shit over there, yo. She's running a sweatshop over there with you guys. So, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Everybody looks at me and what I do to D-Palm. I see what Nina's doing to everybody over there, and but it's great. No, I love Nina over there. So I love Project Fandom. So, again, folks, thank you guys very much for listening. Insanity Check on iTunes. Search for us there. Again, leave us a review. We haven't got some reviews in a while. Leave us a reviews there. Leave us a review on Super Tuesday recap. I know next week, Easter weekend, we should be doing a Character Corner on part 2 of Green Lanterns. Again, tomorrow we're doing, or whenever you listen to this, Sunday we're recording our review and recap of Iron Fist. So check that out. And yeah, folks, MTR Network. And stay tuned and we'll let you guys know what else cool stuff is coming out with us. So again, thank you guys very much for listening. Until next time, we're out of here. Peace.